Martha MacCallum is back, sitting to my immediate right, geographically, not necessarily politically. Do you see it in these stark terms, socialism or capitalism?
I feel like I was in your head when you were writing and talking about that. These are exactly the same things that I have been saying. I've been calling it this for a while. I think it goes back to Obamacare. If you go all the way back to the Great Society, it's the beginning of the Europification of America. And when you look at the great nations of Europe, you look at Great Britain, you look at France, what you see are, sadly, once great nations. Right? Once amazing, great countries with epic histories. But what happened is they gave it all away. The government began this cradle to grave, we'll take care of you all. And so what you saw then was the decline of all of their economies over time, right? The softness and the loss of edge, the loss of competitiveness in all of them. And when I look at this $3.5 trillion bill that they're pushing right now, it is exactly that. And that's why Bernie Sanders and Chuck Schumer call it a transformative bill, because it is. It will change this country, and it will dampen the desire of people to make it on their own. And that's a big problem. When you go through this bill, one last thought on this, Stuart. When you go through the bill, there's not one thing in it that says, and if you are a business owner, this is going to help you get your business back on its feet. Right. There's no incentive for business in this entire bill. There's nothing that says, we know you've had a tough year. We know you've thought about closing about 10 times. Many of you have. We want to get you reopened. We want to get you back on your feet. Here's the tax incentive for you to get back on your feet. Here's the depreciation on your equipment. Here's the, if you invest in your business, we're going to give you a break. Not a word of that. Not a word.
When the socialists start saying they really care about business, I'll get really worried, because they don't care about business. But I want you to listen to this, Martha. Listen to what President Biden said about New York's Governor Cuomo right after Cuomo resigned. Roll tape.
Thought he's done a hell of a job. And, I mean, both on everything from access to voting to infrastructure, to a whole range of things. That's why it's so sad.
He's not the only one speaking up for Andrew Cuomo. The actor, Alec Baldwin, blaming cancel culture for his resignation. And there's a lot more where that came from. So, Martha, what is really going on here with these excuses for Cuomo?
It's a complicated subject, because to a certain extent, he is a victim of cancel culture.
Didn't Alec Baldwin make the movie? It's complicated.
It is complicated. It's very complicated. But the fact of the matter is that we all know that politics has changed, right? So when you have these accusations, which sound very credible, bundled in at a moment when it can, take someone down, they don't necessarily. These accusations don't necessarily arise against someone that no one cares about taking out of office. They tend to come up, when there's this sort of effort, this groundswell against someone, whether they're Republicans or Democrats or people in power, whatever it is. This does not diminish the credibility of these accusations and the strength of these women in coming forward. But these things do have a political momentum to them, and I do understand that. In terms of I think that the President Biden lives in a time when these things, it was okay to separate things more, to say like, well, he's a good guy, but he did this and that, but he's a jerk to work for, and he's a creepo around the office. You can't do that anymore in this moment in time. Right, it's like all or nothing, right? You're either and so there's no acceptance for understanding anything that some people might think Cuomo did that was good in his career at this point. We just don't live in that era.
You've got a lot to cover this afternoon. You're on at 3 o'clock with the story at 3 p.m. on Fox News. It may be that Kathy Hochul addresses New York